Welcome to All Home Care Matters, the show where we discuss all things home care, with discussions on important age-related matters and topics. Brought to you by Enriched Life Home Care Services, the #1 rated home care provider in Michigan by Top Rated Local.
Hello, and welcome back to All Home Care Matters. If this is your first time visiting us here at the show, we want to say thank you for taking time out to be with us today. We appreciate how valuable everyone's time is, and that's why we try and make each episode here at All Home Care Matters something that will hopefully matter to you. Today, we are honored to welcome 3 remarkable guests, Stephen Barlam, Debra Feldman, and Malika Moore. All 3 of them are members of ALCA, the Aging Life Care Association. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure. So, Stephen, let's start with you. Share with us your title, your experience, and kind of what your background is.
Sure. I'm a clinical social worker by training. I've been in the field since 1985. I can't even imagine. 37 years, unbelievable, or so. I started off in the nonprofit arena working for Jewish Family Service in Los Angeles. Did that for about 10 years. And then I started a small boutique care management practice, a private practice, and did that for 10 years when I was approached by venture capital folk who were really interested in this model of care management. But they were interested in creating more of a national model. So for the next 20 years, I worked with them to create a national model. It was called LivHOME at the time, and we had offices throughout the country. And then a few years back, I was approached again by Jewish Family Service in Los Angeles as they wanted to build up a home care integrated with care management service. And so they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I came back, so it's full circle. And have been doing this work, as I said, for about 37 years and loving it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Debra, how about you?
So I got into the field a little bit after Steve. I got into the field in 1988. I actually fell into the industry. I got into care management by accident. I do have a master's in social work, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. But I went for an informational interview in the Chicago area and found somebody that was doing kind of dabbling in the care management world. She was doing a lot of guardianship work with seniors and doing some also supervised visitations between non-custodial parents and their family. And she needed somebody to assist her. And so I started working on a case with her and really found that the work that I was doing, I really loved it. I was, finding that, walking into doctors' offices with clients and learning a lot of different medical information and background and medications and things like that for my clients and supporting them was interesting. And I was always an educational experience, and having opportunities to work with attorneys was also another area that I started to grow and learn a lot of information that was really beneficial to clients. But I worked with this small agency for about 3 years and got my supervision and got licensed and decided for a lot of different reasons to open up my own company. And so in 1991, I started Debra Feldman Associates and have not looked back since.
That's wonderful.
So really I have loved the work that I do and enjoy my clients and families. And it's just been a wonderful career.
That's amazing. Malika.
Well, I've been doing this for the last 12 years, so not as long as my colleagues, but the love is the same. I also started off in the nonprofit sector. I am a clinical social worker. So I started off home visits, nonprofits, you have many, many hats. So home visits, psychotherapy, support groups. And then I left the nonprofit sector and intentionally went to go work in nursing homes because I wanted to find out what was happening when I met people in the community. So I was able to learn and get the knowledge and the tools. And in 2019, I started Aging and Amazing, and I decided to bring together all of my skills and creativity. And I'm looking forward to continuing and for it to grow and to succeed. So that's how I got started.
Wonderful. Well, in full disclosure, we're also a part of your amazing platform, Aging and Amazing, and it has been growing very rapidly. And I recommend it all the time and suggest our viewers and listeners visit it to learn more about this platform that you've created.
Thank you.
So I want to start with the three of you, and Stephen, we'll go back to you. What does a typical workday look like with the work that you're involved with?
Oh my goodness. It's all over the map in a way. I have a company that has 20 people in the office, and we have 250 working caregivers. So a typical workday starts off with a video call early in the morning where I check in with all staff for about 10, 15 minutes just to see what's going on. It oftentimes will be making a couple of home visits in the morning, visiting with clients, making some phone calls, coordinating services. We have clients going in and out of the hospital, unfortunately, and that takes time of interfacing with physicians, with the discharge planners, with family that's involved, with durable medical equipment, coordinating everything to make sure that the transition will be smooth. It is having lunch on the fly, always. Never have time to, have that lovely leisurely lunch. It's connecting with resources in the afternoon, making some phone calls, checking in with folks, learning about resources, and then doing a little work for the professional association as well. Always try to get something in there. It's about professional development, whether it's reading an article, whether it's, sending some emails or doing some committee work. And then end of the day, it's always touching base with staff again for another 10-minute meeting. So as you can see, it's never a dull moment, lots of juggling, lots of spinning plates that are keeping going.
Well, in ourselves being in the home healthcare field, we've seen a lot of challenges and shifts in the field, in the industry because of COVID. How did you guys adjust to that? Did you see any challenges that presented or any changes that were brought about because of COVID?
Yes, in terms of how we connected with our caregivers. So we were one of the few agencies that were providing on a weekly basis supplies for all of our caregivers, having them come in, or we would go out to the house to drop them off.
Right.
We would have weekly conversations with caregivers. And in fact, during the 2.5 years, 3 years, during the height of COVID, we got the best ratings from both our caregivers and our clients because the communication was notched up. Right. We were forced to, we actually grew significantly during that period. But as you can imagine, you're in the home care arena. When you get that call from a caregiver saying, I don't feel well today, it's just thinking, okay, who did this caregiver get in touch with? And were they in contact with another caregiver in which household? And so it created the necessity to create interesting communication tools to keep, everybody safe.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure like yourselves, we had to develop our own contact tracing system because of it. And so, yeah, that's fascinating. And, kudos to you to the tremendous work that you guys are doing. Debra, let's talk about the work that you're doing. And what does a typical day look like for you and your company?
So for me, I actually have two other care managers that work with me. We sort of each cover our own caseload. And as I was thinking about this question, I thought I would kind of share what my day was like yesterday. So I started off with a phone call from one of my clients. kind of helping her. She's got some cognitive declines, memory loss. And so I was helping her with remembering a couple of different appointments that she had coming up this week. So we were reviewing her calendar. And then from there, I had a care plan meeting with a client or with a facility with regards to a client that has just recently moved into the community. So really working with the community to help them understand my client who has Alzheimer's disease and is really not able to express herself well. So I'm speaking on her behalf and educating the facility about her needs and how to meet her needs and understand who she is. We still have a caregiver that had been with her when she was in her home, who's helping with this transition process. And so coordinating and talking with the caregiver and talking with the facility and the caregiver and really working to get communication going between everybody so that the transition can run really smoothly with that client. From there, I took a drive downtown into Chicago and met with a new client family, older adult in his own home. Changes have gone on within his life. His kids were all surrounding him and helping out, and they were trying to figure out how I could fit into their situation and really be able to be an additional support system to Dad. And then am coordinating a couple other things, working with a medical equipment company. The client that I had seen earlier needs a wheelchair and a chair cushion, and so contacted a medical equipment company regarding that. Also making phone calls with regards to another client who is in her own home and has a medical procedure coming up and trying to figure out how I'm going to get her to the hospital for that procedure. She's bedbound, and so I'm kind of brainstorming with the physical therapist that's coming to the house and figuring out how we're going to get her out of bed and into a wheelchair and into the Medivan and to this appointment. So juggling a lot of different clients and doing a lot of problem solving. And every day the kind of touch points with could be half a dozen clients.
So really listening to Stephen and to you, Debra, you don't just wear one hat, right? You play a variety of different roles, and there's different services that both of your companies are providing, and it can range from day to day. So it's never the same.
Right. And things can turn on a dime. You could be heading in one direction, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call from a client who just called the 911 and is heading to the ER. So you're changing directions and following them to the emergency room and canceling a few other appointments for that day.
Sure. Malika, what's your day typically like?
They echo my day. I'm a smaller geriatric care management firm, so I have many hats, and I work with contract social workers right now as I continue to build. But the days are unpredictable, so a lot of times I'm getting complimentary consultations with potential clients, and those take a lot of time because I'm explaining the services. A lot of times people have gotten my number or Googled and found me somewhere, and they don't really know what care management is. So I'm pulling together those ALCA marketing materials. I'm talking with them on the phone and pinpointing, okay, this is how I can support and help you, and following up should need be with resources. Also, it could be, like my colleagues have said, going to a nursing home and meeting a client and advocating on their behalf, because a lot of the caregivers are working full time. They don't know the language. They don't know what they need to say or be asking. So I'm going in, first off, building rapport with everyone involved so I can make sure that this person discharged safely. Then we're talking about, what does a discharge look like? Does that mean that you're returning home? Or would you like to go to a senior living community? So what are we working on? And also educating about, okay, this discharge may come sooner than you make up your mind. So we need to have a plan in the interim. That could be bringing in home care and other services. I'm thinking about another situation where I get a call from someone who called me months ago who they weren't really sure about the services, but they call me when they need me. And now I'm helping plan a funeral. They're asking me to pick out clothes, go to the funeral home to do this. I'm setting hospice in place because they're not sure what hospice is and if they want to pull those services in at the time. So we're talking about the pros and cons and code status, what that all means, and partnering with other organizations. This may also mean, okay, do you have a financial planner? Have you connected with attorneys? Is it too late for this? So getting in all the right power players, we are those people that make the magic happen and take a lot of the stress and load off the family caregiver or the older adult themselves. So my day, I can have it planned and it could be really late or it could be really short. It just depends. It varies each day.
Okay. And Steve, you're on the West Coast in California.
Yeah, it's in Los Angeles.
And Debra, you're based out of Chicago.
Right.
And Malika, you're based out of where?
DC, Maryland, Virginia.
So this is a national organization, ALCA. It's not just localized to a certain state or community. This is something that is national. Is it also international?
It is.
It is.
A little bit, yes. I know for sure that we have some care managers in Canada. And I've been hearing people reaching out and wondering if there are other care managers throughout like Europe and other areas.
Wonderful.
Rico.
So let's start with this question, because we're talking about ALCA, we're talking about aging life care professionals. Who would like to explain to our viewers and listeners exactly what ALCA means? Because all three of you are kind of doing similar work, but in different areas. What is ALCA?
ALCA is the Aging Life Care Association, and it's a membership organization that supports care managers, really. The whole care management field evolved in the early 80s, I should say the association actually evolved in the early 80s. Care managers found each other and realized what a unique field that they were in, and the fact that coming together and supporting each other was really beneficial. And it's, I think I suppose I always have looked at it as we can't go to school to get a degree in aging care management or an aging life care management, or geriatric care management. You can't go to school and get that specific degree. And so we found that there was a need for these services to be provided, and individuals with degrees in nursing and social work. We're finding people with backgrounds in physical therapy and occupational therapy and speech and recreational therapies are starting to get into this industry. And the association helped bring us all together, kind of helped give us, sometimes the association itself sort of gives us direction. We learn from each other as to best practices and really how to provide quality services to our clients. And so the association really evolved and has been developed for individuals to be part of the organization.
Okay.
And Debra, I just wanted to add something, that there are different organizations for professionals, right? There are trade associations that help people with their business. There are professional associations that really focus on the development of the professional members. And I would say that the Aging Life Care Association is a bit of a hybrid, but primarily is a professional association. Mm-hmm. Its mission is to promoting and leading the community of aging life care professionals through the unique knowledge base, continuing education, professional development, and the highest ethical practices. And it's just something that we're all about, members of the association, board members, leadership. It's really about advancing the profession. It's about helping people develop, grow and be successful, as Malika had said. And being part of the association provides that kind of support that enables people to be more successful.
What, Malika, being the newest member out of the three of you, what was it that attracted you to ALCA and the benefits that it provided you as a professional?
To be honest, I initially didn't know anything about ALCA. I actually reached out because I knew I had this skill set and I wanted to use it in a different way. And I connected with an ALCA member, Kathy Kress, who's all the way in California, and she's my mentor. And she said, "You must join ALCA." She pointed me right there. And then I started to research it. And it was gold, like the marketing materials, the listserv, just everything. It helped me feel like I had a head start on some things that I was trying to figure out on my own.
Okay. And Debra, how does, if a viewer or listener, if they're in the profession, how would they go about joining ALCA? What do you recommend?
Really going to the website, aginglifecare.org. And there's an application process. So there's an application that needs to get filled out. There's an explanation on the website. It has like a wealth of information. And so there's an application, an explanation of the different levels of membership. We have quite a few different membership levels. We have advanced professional members and professional members, associate members. We also have an educational membership as well as student members. And then the highest membership level is that of fellows. And our fellowship membership is really our members that have done a lot of volunteer for the association and have really put forth a lot of, support in the association over the years. But the other different levels for somebody that's new coming to the association have to do with educational levels, certification, numbers of years practicing as a care manager. And it's all really broken out into these different, very specifically into these different levels.
What are some of the ranges of different backgrounds that people have? And I mean, from the professional perspective.
So I had mentioned a little earlier, we have 3 social workers on this podcast, but there are RNs that are involved, nursing, people with nursing backgrounds. Many of the therapies, the occupational and speech and physical therapy, as well as recreational therapists, have gotten into the organization. There are gerontologists, people with gerontology degrees, psychology PhDs, and I think a few people with like business background that are combinations of that. But most of the people are in the healthcare industry.
Okay. And what about for a viewer or listener who is listening to this and didn't know that these types of professions or services were available, and they're on the side of needing these services? How do you recommend they go about obtaining a case manager or a care manager from ALCA?
So again, I'm going to say go to the website. We have this bright orange button on there that says find an aging life care manager. You can click onto that button and then you can fill in a zip code or a city and state, and it will bring up several care managers in that community.
Okay.
I often recommend that people identify a couple care managers that are close to them and call and interview, get to know the individuals that they are potentially hiring, to get to know them a little bit and choose between, a few of them.
Okay. I don't know about you guys, Malika and Debbie, but I'm using that all the time. Because people are calling me and saying, Steve, do you know someone who does what you do, but in Poughkeepsie or in, somewhere else? And I am constantly referring to people who have been vetted, who have agreed to follow standards of practice and abide by ethical standards, who have been screened. What peace of mind to be able to refer people.
Well, and I know here in our state of Michigan, Steve, when you mentioned being vetted and, having their credentials met and looked at, in Michigan, we're a non-licensed state for home care. And so there are no regulations, there are no vetting done by the state or local levels. And, our company practices like you would if we were in Illinois where Debra's at. But so many families, they don't know what they don't know. And and they encounter really bad circumstances and sometimes disastrous ones where they hired somebody that operated under the saying they had a company, but in reality, it was like them and their best friend. There's no insulations from, workman's comp, liability, background checks, motor vehicle checks, all of these different practices, verifying their credentials. And, we try hard to educate our communities about, look, when you're looking for help, whether it's hiring a private RN or hiring a caregiver, make sure the company meets all of these standards because there's no other person that's going to look except you. And hopefully that will change.
As an association, it is so critical that we have spent so much time. We have committees who are working on the standards of practice. We have committees that are working on and continue to review pledge of ethics that our care managers take. And it's all about protecting the consumer.
Right.
So as a professional association, not only are we about lifting up the professionals, but we're also about protecting consumers to make sure that people get qualified professionals to work with, like my colleagues on the call.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I want to kind of close with this, you guys, and I want to ask each of you, given that you've been doing this now, some longer than others, what drives and motivates you to still get excited and wake up every day to do this work? We'll start with you, Malika.
I think I like being able to solve the puzzle. Like I like being able to put in that resource or just seeing that I'm taking a load or a burden off of someone. I mean, then there are those special moments where I am with someone when they're dying and I'm able to hold their hand and know that I put all of these resources in place. And whether they're lucid or not, they're telling me thank you or we appreciate your help. And then you have people who are depressed and they can't express that they're thankful, but they keep letting you come back. Even if they put you out, they keep letting you come back. So it's just a wealth of stories and that I have that have impacted my love for older adults and this work and teaching others how to do it. It's just every when you think you got it, you get another story or another client that just pushes you a little further personally, professionally. And it's just nothing like it, knowing that you can have just a slither and be able to help somebody's life because so many things go on and you're a part of their story, essentially, in aging well.
Wonderful. Steve?
There's a couple of things. One is really making a difference in people's lives. So, when I'm speaking to a new person and after I'm talking to them and, understanding what they're going through and coming up with maybe some suggestions, and you hear that sigh of relief that somebody really understands what I'm going through. Somebody is going to be able to help communicating to folks that I am so glad you called because I know I can make a difference. Like that's what drives me to be able to make a difference. The secondary piece, and I'm sorry, I know you asked for one, but I'm a yacker. The secondary piece has to do with innovation. And I am like Malika, and also I know like Debra, a problem solver extraordinaire. And so we have been able to start programs at JFS Los Angeles. We have a program of serving the recently homeless, providing care management and home care for people who have gotten into permanent housing and who need home care, but they have unique needs. We are looking at ways of changing the model to be able to provide really top-notch service for those at the bottom of the economic spectrum. And being part of a nonprofit, oh my goodness, creates opportunities that I never had in the for-profit arena. It's both the good news and the bad news, but that's what drives me, really making a difference and being able to do innovative kind of programming.
Wonderful. Debra.
It's always hard going last. Steve, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. Making a difference is really what I see a lot. Like every day, I know that the work that I'm doing and the support that I'm providing to my clients helps them immensely. And it's that ability to really provide that hand-holding. I think I probably thrive on the fact that people rely on me and depend upon me to make sure that things are happening for them, that they're getting the resources that they need, that they're getting the support that they need, that their needs are completely being met. And I really enjoy being able to do that. And getting to know my clients. The days that I have those opportunities to really sit and talk with one of my clients, the older adults, and really learn their stories and hear their history, that really puts a smile on my face. I really thrive on that.
That's wonderful.
It's making a difference in people's lives and providing quality of care and quality of life as they age.
And do you think it's fair to say because of ALCA, you're able to make a bigger difference than you would if you were not a part of it?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think the association has helped to educate more people about care management. It's still it's not a well-known career path, and it's not a well-known service.
Well, and we hope that, I was just going to say, Debra, we hope that by, highlighting ALCA and the remarkable work that the three of you are doing in this field and in the profession, it will help to educate people and make more people aware of this work because it's invaluable. The work that Steve's doing now, helping homeless get access to care management, Malika having her tremendous social media platform, Aging and Amazing, and you, Debra, with your tremendous care management that you're doing for folks in Illinois. We encounter countless families here in our state daily who just don't know about resources or about care management, case management, and we just try to do our small part in sharing this remarkable resource with our viewers and listeners that we have.
I just want to say I have been part of the Aging Life Care Association since 1991, sort of the earlier years, and it has evolved. It is remarkable in terms of the colleagues, the friendships, the professional growth. It is a remarkable organization for anybody who's listening to this podcast, who is a professional, who's thinking about, should I get into this field or I'm in this field, what's the value? I have to tell you, when I first started, I was scared to join the association. Like, I didn't want to be part of all the competition out there. Like, they terrified me. I was intimidated by it, but I went to my first meeting in 1991 and I was blown away that people got me. I didn't have to tell long stories of what I do because other people were doing that.
Yeah.
And what strength there was in that. And I would highly recommend, there's a national conference coming up in April, mid-April in San Diego on our website, aginglifecare.org. And, I would really invite people to attend. It's a great way to meet like-minded professionals.
Tremendous. And I know we're going to have the links to ALCA and all of the different resources on the page here in our show notes, and we'll have them up on the screen for our viewers and listeners as well. And we just want to thank all three of you so much for, sharing this tremendous resource. And we've had the honor and privilege of speaking to Malika a couple of times, and, she's always just spoke so highly of the remarkable work that ALCA is doing and all of her colleagues there. So thank you so much for sharing this time and resource with us.
And thank you as well.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for everything that you all are doing and the resources and getting this out here. I'm looking forward to having some new colleagues.
Yes. Well, you're welcome. And well, hopefully we'll have you guys back on again in the future.
We would love that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today here at All Home Care Matters. All Home Care Matters is here to help families as they navigate these long-term care issues. We invite you to visit us at allhomecarematters.com, where there's a private, secure, fillable form where you can give us feedback, show ideas, or if you have questions. Every form is read and responded to. And remember, you can listen to the show on any of your favorite podcast streaming platforms or watch the show on our official YouTube channel. Just make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. We'd also like to say thank you again to Stephen Barlam, Debra Feldman, and Malika Moore from ALCA, the Aging Life Care Association. We look forward to seeing you next time here at All Home Care Matters. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to you joining us again on another episode of All Home Care Matters. To learn more about the show and to connect with us, visit us at allhomecarematters.com.